Hello and welcome to the Jeff Ahern Show. Glad to be here. Lots to talk about. So I'm going to get right into it. But first, my shameless plugs. Join me at jeffahern.com. Join me at jeffahern.com where you see all my news of the day clips or on Rumble, or you can check me out on Patreon as well. All right, got those out of the way. So here we go. Let's talk about what everybody is talking about this week. It's not the most exciting, as far as like I did a story on it and I had fun with it. I feel like it came out pretty good. I just put it up on Patreon, so you can check that out there, or jeffahern.com. But I'll go over it in more detail right now. So Biden's documents. That seems to be. I mean, that's everywhere. That's not correct. It's not everywhere. It's on Fox. It's on New York Post. It's on like Daily Mail UK. But surprisingly, not that much coverage. I mean, it is begrudgingly being covered on liberal outlets, but very begrudgingly, and with a lot of excuses being made, and a lot of, oh, well, yeah, he has all these classified documents and these top secret documents, and they're pretty much all over the place because, he's feeble-minded. They don't say that part. I do. But it's always a big but in there. With Trump, there was never a but. With Trump, is like, oh, he's got all these classified documents. Then you listen, you'd never hear a but. You'd never hear an excuse. With the liberal media, all you do is it's like a very brief, Biden has some documents, but, and then like this long, a series of excuses for him having said documents, or why it's okay that he had them and not okay that Trump had them. But basically the gist of it is, if you haven't been paying attention, again, it's not, I didn't either. I'm just like, whatever, I don't really care. But then I'm like, okay, it's big news now. I got to cover it. But basically, Biden has a lot of classified documents. And I don't for a moment feel like it's nefarious. I don't feel like it's like, oh, Biden's like, up to no good. He's got all these classified documents. He's going to use them for ill. No, it's just a symptom of his feeble-minded, absent-mindedness, of him just, I don't know, taking stuff home from work, I guess, in a way. And then just like, I'll put it over here by the copier. And then he forgets about it. But I mean, I feel the same way about Trump, like I don't blame his on feeble-mindedness. I think his were more organized. Like he kind of kept them all in one place. He was like, okay, well, let's put this here, but I don't feel there was anything nefarious in nature as for either of them as to keeping these documents. But with Democrats being Democrats, they're like, oh my God, we can hit Trump with this. Look, he's got all these documents. We can really pound him on this. So let's do that. You don't see that with Biden. Again, it's not something you want. You certainly don't want these classified top secret documents not protected, like they should be. But at the same time, it's not to me, it's not that big a deal either way. I think it's just it's a bit of stupidity just to not have them where they're supposed to be. But that being said, you do get to see a great example here of how biased our media is. When it happened to Trump, it was outrageous. It was horrible. Everyone's all up in arms. And when it happens to Biden, all you hear are excuses. Oh, well, it didn't really matter. This one wasn't that important, yada, yada. He just forgot, Joe, ha, ha, ha. He's feeble-minded, ha, ha, ha. It's not really funny that we can laugh about how feeble-minded our president is. I mean, or that the left does. They're like, oh, Joe, he doesn't know how to use the English language anymore. Oh, Joe, he forgets people are dead. Oh, Joe, there's nothing really funny about it. I mean, you can laugh it off. That's what they do. But it's downright frightening. But again, as a party, they have such a low bar for their candidates, for who they'll accept. I mean, look at as a Republican. We got this guy in New York who just like, oh, my God, like Santos, I think is his name. Compulsive liar, a criminal. I mean, literally like any bad thing you could be. This guy is like a textbook case of it. I'm a Republican. This guy's got to go. What the hell? Get him out. Get him the hell out. Now, how about you Democrats and Fetterman? Now, Fetterman is actually better than Santos in a way, because Fetterman at least he's just clueless. He had the stroke and he can't process things like he used to. I mean, he shouldn't be left in charge of anything. But Democrats are like, no, we don't care. We're going to keep him in. Have some dignity, have some self-respect for the level of candidate you will allow take office with your party's name attached to them. Biden is the penultimate example, right? I mean, he's still, it's crazy. So basically what you're seeing here is just this total difference of how the situation is being handled. With Trump, the liberal media went nuts. They saw it as an opportunity to, again, bash Trump. They can't stop. I mean, they did it for so long. They just don't know what else to do. It's why their ratings are in the toilet. They have no other game. They have no other game plan. Even now, they're still looking for stuff to bash Trump with. It's like, let it go. Let it go. He's not president anymore. Why don't you take some of your news team and start covering news? Biden daily gives you tons of it. Go down to the southern border for a couple hours. Cover that. You don't cover. They spend more time avoiding covering the news than they do actually covering the news. And one of their avoidance strategies is to get stuff on Trump. Still. And then the left. I would say the left just sits there and like spoons it in their mouth. But even they're tired of it. They're not watching it either. They know, they're like, well, why are they? Even the left's like, yeah, well, we don't like Trump. He's not president anymore, right? Why are they still covering it? How else do you explain your 60% drop in ratings at CNN? How do you explain all these leftist news organizations and even social media platforms bleeding up, money and having to lay off employees? Because even your core target demographic, Trump hating Democrats, is like, all right, yeah, you guys got something else? The guy ain't even he's not president anymore. Is there anything else? No. All right, click, turn it off. Who's got their ratings right now? The conservative outlets, Fox, things like that. Because even if you don't agree with the more right-leaning, shall we say, networks, at least they're providing news, which is something the Democrats or these Democrat basically arms of the Democrat Party, CNN, MSNBC, etc., are not. And then you got another big difference between both Trump and Biden as far as these documents go, and that is this: Trump got raided by the FBI. When is that raid going to happen for Biden? And I'll say this: you could make a case that raid should have happened long ago, not even for these classified documents, but for Hunter. The FBI, which is a joke. It's a joke. It's completely a part of the left. They might as well just be the Democrat FBI, because they don't do any work searching out or seeking out corruption within that party, the Democrat Party. They are only an arm and apparatus of Joe Biden, the Democrat Party, to go in, kick down doors, and find dirt on opponents, Republicans, independents. Never a Democrat. They had this laptop, Hunter Biden's laptop. They had it, a long time before they ever did anything with it. And they only did something with it, and barely, because everyone else finally found out about it. And then the media came in and said, oh, no, it's all a lie. It's all a lie. And this great FBI we have, they didn't stop them from doing that. They just kind of like, okay, sure. They knew it wasn't a lie. Okay, whatever. They don't want any of it to come out, at least not until after the election. You know what would have been great if they'd raided Hunter Biden's places? Let's see. I mean, that's a smoking gun. That's a smoking cannon. And they did nothing about it. So when did the FBI do something? Well, Trump had some documents, some classified documents, and they gave the Biden administration an excuse to send them into Mar-a-Lago, kick down the doors, and they weren't looking for the documents. They knew the documents were there. They weren't looking for the documents. They were looking for anything else. They were on a fishing expedition to further smear him or get him for something or this or that, whatever. It was a complete, and this is the FBI. This is an institution that's supposed to be protecting us in a way from us, right? From nefarious and bad actors within our own government, etc. But they are they're basically just a political tool to get dirt on the other party, to create hardships for the other party, the Republicans. And they're controlled completely by the Democrats. So will the FBI be barging in or inconveniencing Biden in any way, looking for more of these classified documents, or going on their fishing expedition like they did for Trump? Of course not. And Biden would be a great person to go on a fishing expedition with. I mean, really, think of mainly for all the Hunter stuff. We know that they were influence peddling. There's no question about that. If you don't think that Hunter was working with Joe, influence peddling for money and for a piece of this action or that action, percentages of companies' growth, if you don't believe that, you're a fool. You're a fool. It's all on the laptop. So why not send the FBI into one of Hunter's homes or one of Joe's home and look for more corroborating evidence? because it's not. I feel like they already have. Who the hell's the big guy? It's just Joe Biden. It's always been Joe Biden. Trump hit him with that in the debates. He was expecting more of a bang on it, but people didn't care. Everybody knows he's the big guy. The media knows he's the big guy. His supporters know he's the big guy. And who's the big guy? The big guy is the guy whose influence Hunter was using in order to get money from various enterprises with very suspect companies, criminal companies at that, to move the needle for those companies in their favor through Joe and legislation or just legislation that would create or policy that would create an abundance of profits for these companies. And in exchange, the big guy would get his percentage, right? Where's the FBI going after that? They're looking whatever. They're not going to do a thing because they are controlled by the Democrat Party. Why? We don't need an FBI. That's not right. We don't need the FBI that we have right now because they're worthless. All they are is a legalized political muscle for the Democrat Party. That's all they are. That's what their purpose is right now. We pay their salaries to do that. That's what they do. That is what they do. And until that changes, they're of no use. They're of no use. They're corrupt. They're corrupt. So I don't know how you fix that. But I know that is where we are at right now with the FBI. That is exactly where it is, a corrupt organization controlled by the Democrat Party, by Joe Biden, whoever, and that's the nuts and bolts of it. How do we fix that? I don't know. But to pretend any different is foolish. And so it's not so much about the documents. It's just the level of hypocrisy. And it's just right there in your face. You can't avoid it. You see how often do you have to see it? And I get it, like Democrat vote. Why do they care? It's our team. So if they want to cheat, go ahead. It's our team. So if they want to be corrupt, go ahead. Have some dignity. Have some self-respect in who you allow to lead. Because if they're doing that to this person or that person, eventually it's going to happen to you. And it already has. Look at defund the police. What was that? Defund the police was a policy that Democrats, everyone really, I shouldn't say everyone, it's kind of sad, but anyone with a brain would have known would have been disastrous in the very communities that people say it was designed to help. And it has been. Murder, crime, everything bad is skyrocketed. Police are completely demoralized in these communities. The good cops are leaving. Anyone who can leave is leaving. Anyone coming in, the few that aren't there to do jobs. They're just there to get a paycheck and keep their heads down. And so all of that happened so Democrats could get votes. They didn't care what happened to these communities they claim to care so much about. They knew that the people were going to die. People were going to die in the streets. 911 hold times were going to go up. It was going to be just insanity. They didn't care. They knew what the outcomes were going to be. But the only outcome that they were actually concerned with was generating more votes for the left, for the Democrat Party. And congratulations, that worked. The rest was all acceptable collateral damage as far as they're concerned. And then people next election go vote for them again. How do you fix that? I don't know. I don't know. All right, let me look at some other news here. By the way, if you would like your logo here, Black Rifle Coffee, how about sponsoring the show? How about that? I'm hitting them up. Anyone know Black Rifle? Get them on the horn. I do like good coffee, so. That being said, let's check out some other news. And the first, the lead headline for Fox is getting to the truth, and they're talking about the Biden document scandal. They've found three different troves, if you will, of these. And I talked about this in my news piece. One of the they found a few documents in his garage. I don't understand Democrats in their garages. Like, why is that the place you store your top secret data? Why is the garage like, put it in the garage? That seems like the least safe place you could store top secret data. And yet that's where, Hillary had her server, right? That's where Biden's storing documents. And I was like, okay, well, at least Biden, Hillary, she's hired tech, she got emails and things like that and electronic documents. Biden's old school. He's got paper, but he's so old. I was like, okay, well, I'm excited that he even has paper. Because I had him pegged for microfiche. How about that? All right. Old person joke. All right, here we go. Let's get back to it. Up in arms, dozens of sheriffs take matters into their own hands, vow to defy Democrats' strict gun rule. All right, here's the thing with the gun rules, and again, arms. Democrats, they're all about gun control, and we got to get rid of guns and this and that. They don't want to get rid of criminals. They want to get rid of guns, and of course, criminals get their guns through non-legal means. So the only thing people that are really hurt by the gun control laws are law-abiding citizens. And so you've got a situation where more people feel the need. Like Democrats, they on the one hand, they're like, okay, we got to stop. We got to have this gun control. We got to get less people with guns. On the other, they create environments where you almost out of necessity have to buy a gun to protect yourself. The cops aren't coming, or at least for a long time. You're going to be waiting. The cops that do come are just doing cleanup. I mean, they don't want to get involved in it. And so you're kind of on your own. And so people are going out and buying weapons because they don't feel safe. You got that a lot during right when COVID first started. I remember I went down to get some ammo. Why the hell not? And the line was insane. I mean, and it was everywhere. All these gun stores, they were just selling out of guns because people, everyone's like, lawlessness. Well, that's what Democrats create. Their policies create lawlessness. So it's not to the extreme and all at once, like with COVID, but more and more people are going to gun stores and buying guns because they feel unsafe. Why do they feel unsafe? Because criminals aren't punished. Criminals aren't prosecuted. Criminals are put right back out onto the street. And if you helped put that criminal away for a couple hours till they sprung on no cash bail, you better get a gun because they're probably going to come back for you. What's the incentive, to get someone arrested? What's the incentive? You see a crime happen to report it. All you're doing by reporting it is, I hate to say it, putting a target on yourself, because that person you reported it on, they're likely going to be out in hours in a lot of these Democrat cities. And so there's no incentive to stop crime, and there's a massive incentive to be a criminal. And then Democrats are like, I don't understand. I voted Democrat. I've been voted Democrat my whole life. Every year the city gets worse. Better vote Democrat next year. That'll probably fix things. How do you fix that? And then they're making the schools all just go south. Ugh, it's a disaster. Mark's got some stuff. Can BLM and Code Pink sponsor you? I don't know. I feel like BLM. I say if BLM can sponsor me, but it will in no way. That sounds like a terrible sponsor for me, though. But it will. I'm still going to crap on them. I'm not gonna. They want to send me money. I'll take it, but I won't stop crapping on them. That's my deal for BLM. And if they do something, I mean, BLM is they're barely hanging on at this point. I mean, their sponsors, their founders are corrupt as hell. Their taxes are in shambles. They can't even take donations in liberal states like California won't let them take donations anymore because their books are so crooked. It's a cash grab. It's a money grab. The people who they claim to want to help, this is classic Democrat 101, don't see any of the money, and only the people up top are buying mansions with it, are increasing their real estate portfolios with it. They're getting mansions in coolers and a wife in Canada, or in California. They have a really nice property portfolio. All of it funneled, all of it through Black Lives Matter, shall we say, which is why they can no longer take donations in many states because they are so corrupt that even these liberal states like California are like, no, you can't stop. We're watching. This is happening right in front of us, and we can't just completely do this, although that's what they usually do. Mark says, what do I know about microfiche? It's true. My only experience with microfiche was in college. I had to watch something, and I was like, oh, okay. I had to watch, and I all they had it on was microfiche. So I had to go to like one of those old school microfiche machines. I was like, it was kind of like, it was almost more fun working the microfiche machine and just playing with that than whatever it was I was looking up. But yeah. Yeah, BLM, I don't know. And Code Pink, I don't even know what the hell that is, Mark. That's I guess I'm out of it on Code Pink. But it's the same situation. If I disagree with you, I'm going to say it. If you want to send me money anyways, that's fine. Please do. Or why don't you coolers, whatever first name is. Why don't you give me a house or something? Give me some nice LA, one of your luxurious LA properties in non-minority neighborhoods. She don't buy in the minority communities that she helped destroy. She buys with the ones that have a nice police force where law enforcement is still respected. Why is that? Think about that. Food for thought. All right. Left hook. This is I think more on the Biden document scandal. Democrat lawmakers swipe at Biden over embarrassment of doc scandals. Yeah, it just goes back to his mental state, and it's just he's not there. He hasn't been there. He never should have been elected president based on his cognitive decline alone. And it's not getting any better. It's getting worse. And Democrats just keep making the excuses, and so we're stuck with them. The good news is we have the House. So now we can stem whoever is actually calling the shots, because we know it's not Biden. Stem their decrees and their draconian whatever their next draconian measures are going to be. And again, you go back to, let's look at places where people are moving to. People are flocking to Texas. They're flocking to Florida. These are what I call the free states, because they are states that still respect capitalism. They are states that still value personal responsibility. They're states that still value law and order, and that criminals, when you commit a crime, be punished. And so where does everyone want to go? They want to go to them because they're thriving. They're doing amazingly well. So people want to move there. But here's the thing. If your state stinks so bad that you have to leave it, and look at who is in charge of that state. And then when you move to your new state, Texas, Florida, something like that, don't put the same damn party in charge of that state, or that state's going to go down too. Like, again, it's just, it's the simplicity of it. It's so simple. And yet they're like, this is a terrible city. It's a Democrat one, but it's not their fault. I'll go to Florida, and then I'll elect more Democrats there. They'll fix things. They don't need fixing. You're going to ruin them. But Mark says he thinks lobbyists are calling the shots. Mark, for the most part, they are. I think that's a whole nother level. When we get past the political ideologies of the parties, which is what I focus on. But yeah, the whole thing in the end of the day is Republican and Democrat, sadly, is very much lobbyist driven. And that's a whole nother. That one is at least party neutral. I mean, that's true of both parties and independents, and it's sad, and it needs to be rectified. But that's something else. Once we stop bailing water from the Democrats sinking the country, we'll deal with the lobbyists next. Oh. Okay, let's see what else we got here. A lot of football stuff, obviously, with the playoffs. Comedian says wokeness has made people forget real way to fight climate change. All right, yeah, whatever. Let's check out the New York Post. New York Post is always funny. They always have good headlines. They got that crazy dude. I'm glad they finally caught that guy who killed those 4 kids in Idaho. Incel complex. Okay, probably. He's all messed up. That's for sure. So I guess he's not a Trump guy, or the liberal media would have had him like, oh, MAGA supporter kills 4. That it's weird. Like it's been very apolitical on this guy. Usually anyone who does anything bad, immediately by the leftist media, they look for any ties to Trump or to Republicans or conservatism. And they plaster that all over the place. I haven't seen any of that, which makes me believe he's probably a registered Democrat. What do you think? I think I might be right. I think if it was different, it'd be all over the lib media. And Republicans, they're like, whatever, he's crazy, dude. We don't care if he's Democrat or whatever. He's just a nut. His political affiliation really doesn't have anything to do with that, But Democrats, they grasp at straws to get new voters. Okay, so we got a lot of this. Well, it's Sunday, so I'm doing this on Sunday. So it's a lot of celebrity news, which I never get that excited about. Amy Robach, who I've never watched. I don't watch these morning talk shows, these news shows, because they're not news. They're just it's a bunch of leftist opinion powdered up and lipstick on a pig. But she's made. Why am I even reading this? She's probably getting fired along with her co-host, who she was having a loose affair with, I guess. I don't know how else to describe it. I mean, apparently they were both kind of separated, so they're consenting adults, whatever. But maybe my feeling is their contracts must have been too high. So this is I'm always not the conspiracy theorist, but maybe devil's advocate, we'll call it. So so this is my theory that I'm making up on the spot here. I feel like both their contracts were probably very high. The news business in general, liberal specifically, is tanking because no one trusts anything that they're being told, because they realize it's basically all written for them by some Democrat speechwriter somewhere and put out an opinion pieces put out as news. So you've got a lot of overhead, especially with these older anchors who've been around for a while and their salary. So what a great opportunity to cut the fat and let them go, get some new young blood in there that they can pay a lot less. It's win-win. So they're both gone. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. And I'm sticking with it until someone tells me different. Okay. Here we go. Mayor Adams. I'll take him any day over de Blasio. I'd take anyone any day over de Blasio. But Mayor Adams is saddled with being a Democrat. He's saddled with Democrats all around him. Mayor Adams gets firsthand look at the crisis during the El Paso visit. And he looks like, he's like in front of some ramshackle fence, which I like that too. It doesn't look like it's completely staged like Biden. But, if he's serious about fixing things, first thing he's got to do is he's got to get rid of DA Alvin Bragg, who's his progressive DA, who's got crime just going crazy because he's not prosecuting criminals. He's allowing criminals even to assault police officers at this point, and have those charges downgraded. It's lunacy to have him there. So I feel like until if he really wants to change things in New York City, migrants, you got to deal with that. How do you deal with that? Tell Biden to stop with the open door policy and start enforcing border law. That's easy enough. That's not a complicated thing. It is, for Democrats because they need these voters. But Adams realizes that he's going to get run out of town because all these migrants are coming in. They're putting strains on city services. And, everything bad that could happen is starting to happen because everything's overrun. The police are already like, enough of this. And so he's in a survival mode. His survival mode is, all right, I got to at least put a stop or the brakes on the migration. But I think even before that, more important than that, is you got to get rid of DA Alvin Bragg. You got to get a conservative, or at a minimum, he'll never get a conservative DA, but you got to get someone who's at least going to enforce the laws on the books and stop looking ways to soften them. You want criminals to go to jail when they do bad things, or they will do more bad things. If there's no punishment, if there's no consequences for bad actions, you get more bad actions. How many times do you have to see it repeated again and again and again to get it through your thick skulls? It's when you have a brain, when you have half a brain, when you have a quarter brain, you can see this a mile away. It's pretty simple. You have I don't want to get into dog training because, people get mad about that. But, if you never stop your dog from crapping in the corner of the room, guess what? Your dog's always going to crap in the corner of the room. Consequences. Just saying. All right. So we'll see what happens with that. Mark says, any thoughts on Santos? I actually gave those a little earlier. Santos needs to go. And I was just saying that, that's the difference I feel between Republicans and Democrats will put up with anything in their candidates, anything. And look at Maxine Waters here in California. She's super corrupt. She's got all her family on the payroll, and it's a lot of shadiness. She's a nut job. She's not going away. She got a Democrat by her name. They'll vote her in until she's, until the wheels fall off, so to speak. Biden, great example. Fetterman, great example. Now, I look at Santos, I see like a real he's a scumbag. And I said it before, he's wrong on every level. Like, he's a liar. He's a thief. He needs to go. He's a Republican. I don't care. Get him out. He's a garbage human being. I don't want a garbage human being representing my party. And I feel like Democrats ought to step up and draw that line in the sand as well. How about it, Democrats? What do you think? Okay, so the House is going to have a balanced budget and they will cut the IRS. Yeah, that's fine. I'm fine with that. The IRS thing, the Democrats have gone on this massive spending spree, massive, increasing inflation wildly by doing exactly the opposite of what they should be doing in times of economic duress, which is print more money. It's a very Venezuelan of you, of them. And so cutting the IRS, I'm fine with that because the IRS is just like trying to, you got to have some taxes, of course, but their whole plan is basically let's just suck more money out of everyone else to pay for all this stuff that we really couldn't afford. And I'm not on board with that. I see where my tax dollars are going. Bullet trains here in California, $106 billion. And they have I don't think they've even laid a mile of track yet. It's been going on for 7-8 years. That's where my tax dollars are going here. One of the many, boondoggles that my tax dollars are supporting. I didn't vote for it, but it was on the ballot, and the morons in my state, California, were like, "Oh yeah, let's get that bullet train, green." How do you not know from the beginning it's going to be a disaster? It's going to be twice as expensive, 3 times as expensive as an airline ticket, because they have to pay all these fees and this and that. I mean, it'll be more expensive. It'll be less reliable. I mean, why? Because it's government. It's not a private industry thing. This is a government thing. Look at Amtrak. Amtrak, I don't think has been profitable ever. It's essentially funded by the government. I think they're always in the red. And so now we're just adding another division to that. Maxine, please have Maxine on my show. She's a nutter. She is. I don't know how else to describe her. She is an absolute nutter. I'm working on please. Yeah. Oh my God. If you give me Maxine Waters, I'll be respectful. So I hope she doesn't watch this interview. But yeah, please give me Maxine Waters. Oh, that'd be awesome. Work also says Reverend Barber, I don't know who that is going to Yale teaching theology instead of being a civil rights leader. Maybe I don't know. Don't know Rev Barber. But yeah, if you can give me Maxine Waters, hell yeah, do that. That would be awesome, man. I'll wear suspenders on that day. This is my casual day. If you watch me on my news show, on jeffahern.com or Patreon, please check it out. I wear suspenders and basically this, but with suspenders. So this is my casual look, right? I just have a tie on. So there you go. It's a little information you probably didn't need that now you know. Okay, we're rocking and rolling. Selena Gomez. Again, a lot of entertainment stuff. It's Sunday. I get it. Basically, it seems like today you got Biden documents and a lot of entertainment news. All right, let me check out CNN. I always like to check in with the left, see what they're showing. The CNN, of course, is in a ratings toilet because they lost all their credibility with the whole Russian collusion thing that was made up, and the Hunter Biden squashing of all that stuff, which was. Basically, if they said it was 100% true on CNN, you knew it was 100% false. And so that eventually it takes its toll on your credibility. And when you're a news organization, surprisingly, credibility, apparently after 4 years, I guess there's a window where it doesn't matter, starts to matter. So they're firing anchors and demoting Don Lemon. And I never brought this up, but yeah, way to miss the ball drop, Don. It's a little old, but still, how do you miss your whole job is to intro the new year and do the ball drop. You messed up the one thing you were hired to do. What if you get me Hillary? I don't know. I don't want to touch Hillary. I don't want to get suicided if she doesn't like what I have to say. Maybe ixnay on the Hillary. Okay. I got to look at what Code Pink is. Mark's sending me some stuff. I don't know what Code Pink is, so I will have to look that up. She's the founder of Code Pink. I don't know. I it's sketchy. I think she's going to be very close-minded. That's just my gut. Oh, it's a feminist group. Yeah, why not? Sure. I have nothing against feminists. I just don't like them to be anti-male. I mean, I shouldn't say. I don't. Right now, because of just the world we live in, the connotation of feminist just means it is an angry. A woman who's very angry. That's a feminist about everything and anything. That's the way I perceive feminism now. I think that's the way most people perceive feminism now, because that's what we see anytime someone comes on and they have the word feminist under their name. Not very open-minded. Everybody's out to get me. Basically, card-carrying Democrat. All right. CNN. No, surprisingly. I shouldn't say surprise. I'm saying surprisingly sarcastically. So you got Biden. We talked about Biden with all his documents and this and that. And I talked about how the liberal media constantly covers up for him, makes excuses for him. CNN didn't even go to that extent. They just didn't cover it at all. That's the other tool of the left. Simply ignore. And if you're ignoring it, that's really bad. Because if you're not even going to offer like a counter opinion, maybe it's down lower, but it's certainly not up at the top where most people are going to click on stuff. If you're not even able to offer a counter a but and then a bunch of stuff after the but, things are pretty bad for your candidate. Things are pretty bad for your person because you can't even make excuses for them. Now, I'm going to scroll down. Maybe they'll have it buried somewhere in here. But again, they don't cover it. And I think I mentioned this in my video. It's like, usually it's 3 strikes and you're out. And Biden has been found with 3 different troves of documents, 3 different places. But the media for Biden, they treat it like it's a game of t-ball. And so it doesn't matter what he does. It doesn't matter what horrible, gaffe or thing he says or what he forgets or just the fact that he's completely, obviously not cut out for the job. They're going to let him take his base. And that's what they're there to do. And people are sick of it. They're tired of it. It shows in their ratings. And so they, much like, I feel like Amtrak and other government agencies, because pretty much that's what CNN is at this point. It's a government agency for the left, are propped up somehow. I don't know how they get propped up, but I feel like they certainly are propped up. But at some point, there is a threshold where you can't support them anymore. Like, it doesn't matter how much money you throw at them, they keep losing it. And people get tired of losing all their money in the back. Like, so I can see like Soros, like, all right, give CNN another 50 million. I hope they can somebody get some viewers. It's a charity. All right, so yeah, Gen Z. This is what's on CNN. Gen Z has a new vintage technology. That's near the top. It's just sad. There's a story on a University of Georgia football player who was killed. That's sad. Ukrainian. I have to tell you that Ukrainian ingenuity has impressed the U.S. All right, that's a little odd duck. Sad and tragic air crash. So they're covering some news, but there is nothing on Biden's emails. That's rather strange. I wonder, when Trump's emails are not on his documents. I wonder when Trump's documents were discovered, a few months ago, whatever it was. If there was nothing on their whole page about it, I feel like there might have been some more on their homepage, like maybe the whole thing. It's right in front. This is why they are going broke. This is why their ratings are down 60%. They don't cover the news. This is so, like, they're so terrified of this story. They don't even. It's not even listed. It's not. I mean, I'm shocked. I mean, at least some of the other liberal sites had a small blurb on it on Biden's documents and all the stuff going on. Not one, unless I'm missing it. I just can't believe they put nothing on here on it. Like, absolutely nothing. I figure they would have buried it somewhere, Okay, so UFO report. No, you guys. Nope. Martin Luther King. And by the way, just going to Martin Luther King, here's a guy who preached, and rightfully so, that we should judge each other not on the color of our skin, but on the content of our character. That is one of the most profound lines, I think, in human history, and certainly, I think, the secret to unifying the country. And yet, the Democrat Party does the opposite. They hire based on the color of your skin, not the content of your character. They hire on your sexual identity, not the content of your character. They hire on your, anything but the content of your character. You want to hire someone based on the content of their character, you take race out of it. And all Democrats care about is race. And yet they claim to be anti-racist. They're the most racist. They were the most racist party in existence in the Civil War, which they fought to keep slaves. And they're the most racist party now. They're just picking and choosing different races, to be racist against. Right now, white people have gotten used to it. Like, all right, well, I'm not getting this job. I'm not my skin color in right. Isn't that racism? Yeah, but this is the acceptable racism of the left. But now Asians are in on the train too. A lot of Asian people who, and there's lawsuits right now, I think, against Harvard and maybe Stanford, for sure Harvard, about Asian students not getting, even though their merit says they should be in this school, even though they busted their butts and were the smartest kids in their class, many of them aren't getting in there because they're Asian. Racism, flat out racism. But, it's okay. It's acceptable. No, it's not. Content of your character every day should trump color of your skin. And it doesn't for the left. What does that tell you? You're supporting the most racist party in the country's existence every time you vote Democrat. You're supporting a party that destroys your communities. You can look around and see it. The worst cities in this country, who's been running them for decades? The Democrat Party. Who do they blame like the last few election cycles? Cops. Come on. And if people line up and they vote them into office again. Try the other team. All right. Makes me nuts. But yeah, so I don't see anywhere anything on that's unbelievable. I mean, I'm speechless. I don't see it anywhere. Maybe I missed it. Maybe it's like a tiny little blurb, but there's certainly no picture accompanying it. Nothing on Biden's documents. If you needed more proof that the fix is in, that the left is CNN certainly is like, you need to know it's not news, but every day they prove it. And today's an exceptional example where they don't have a single story that I can see on their website on these documents being found out of one. Wow. All right. Well, that's. I mean, what I'm just for fun. I'm going to go to Yahoo because that's also a left-leaning site. But their lead story is Santos. That's fine. That's actually news. But again, I'm not seeing anything on the top here. Certainly in the beginning of any of the coverage. Hunter, Glorious Hunter, they got a story on him about, he had that out of wedlock kid. He had an affair with some waitress or something, I think. Said it wasn't his kid. It was. He doesn't want her to take his name. Honestly, the kid's better off not taking his name. Ugh, dude's got a lot of baggage. I don't even see anything here on it. Unless it's just way down and buried somewhere. Unbelievable. It's not actually unbelievable at all. It's par for the course. It's absolutely par for the course. Oh, there is one thing. It's on Trump. So this is way down here. It says Trump's former chief of staff, John Kelly, had to repeatedly remind the former president he could not share classified information with, and then whatever it was. So Biden is the one right now who's got classified documents all over the place, completely loose and available for anyone who stumbles upon them. And, CNN doesn't cover any of it. Yahoo does a story on Trump. On Trump. Not president. It's not recent. Nothing of it is just so classic of our leftist liberty. And of course, when they try and tamp it down, and people are like, wasn't this a news story? Why isn't it being covered on these news networks? What do? Let me look for some other place to find information about it. A more accurate, a more objective news source. And so they look around, they Google it, which, already your search is getting screwed. Go to DuckDuckGo. But they look around, they find a place that's actually covering the news. And guess what? That becomes their new news source over time. Sometimes quickly, sometimes a little longer. But after repeatedly, they never have any news. What the hell? I need news. I'm going to go to some place that still provides that service. And so you lose another viewer. You lose another subscriber. And that's what's happening to the left. And it couldn't happen to a nicer group. All right. So, Mark, I'm about to cut out. But I've had a lot of fun for a Sunday. That's for sure. Someone in New York got busted for a hate crime. Shocking. Can't believe that, Mark. What are the chances? It was actually a black man hating on an Asian. Yeah, I don't get. I mean, I don't know what it is with a lot of the Asian and African American communities. I wish they got along better. I wish everyone got along better. But yeah, but that always gets swept under the rug. I mean, you're covering it, Mark, but I don't think anyone else is. It's not going to be made a big deal of. It won't be a banner headline on any network. And Asians get hosed. They do. They're constantly, I feel like, at this point, really one of the most, I don't want to say one of the most, not repressed. I can't think of. I'm getting old, but they are a group that gets, I'll say, picked on the most these days. It seems like with hate crimes and other things, and the leftists could care less. So I mean, I feel like Asians, if they're not already voting Republican, you might want to start, because the left don't care about you. You can see that every single day. And it's like, Mark, your last comment, there's no such thing as a good old boy network. Oh, there's definitely a good old boy network, but that's on both parties. Good old boy network, again, it's like lobbyists. It is very much still there. It's unfortunate, but that's on both sides of the table for that one. All right, so I guess I'm going to wrap up. I had a great time. Thank you so much. Please join me at jeffahern.com for the latest news. I try and make the truth funny, but I always try and be truthful. So I hope you will enjoy me there. You can check me out on Patreon as well. Also, I'm on Rumble, so you can check me out on Rumble too. So thank you. God bless. Have a great week, and I will see you. Maybe next Sunday, because actually I'm going to be skiing Friday next week. Woohoo! Or traveling. That's a travel day. Anyway, all right. God bless. Love you all. Even my Democrats. I just pray for you. And that's that. All right. Thank you. I want to say good night. Good afternoon. Thank you.
How you holding up? Nothing wrong with getting help.
If I promise to look into it, will you drop it and help me build this fence?
Now you need my help.
If you or a veteran you know needs support, don't wait. Reach out. Find resources at va.gov/reach.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
I'm a first-generation Filipino American. You don't always feel you're a part of the country you live in. It's this weird middle space sometimes that you have to live inside of. But when you meet others that are also living in that space, you'll learn to know that it's its own unique space too.
Mario fue pintor más de 30 años. Cuando Mario me dijo que tenía problemas en el trabajo, que se le estaban olvidando las cosas, fue difícil.
Yo le diría a la gente que le diga a su familia lo que está pasando con él. Y quiero que me apoyen, que me entiendan y que me quieran.
If I could be you, and you could be me. If I could be you, and you could be me. For just 1 hour, walk a mile in my shoes, walk a mile in my shoes.